So this question is, what has changed since the film was released 5 years ago? Have we seen a change in the apparel industry since then? Has anything been done to improve the working conditions or environmental protection since 2015? Skye, you're muted, but yes.
There have been a lot of changes, but I can say with confidence that in the United States, a lot of those have been reversed out here in recently. Since 2015, Honduras saw a lot of riots and protests from the worker treatment that was going on down there. Same thing in Costa Rica and Guatemala. There's an extensive amount of blindness and arthritis that's occurring in young women in their 20s because they work long hours in poorly lit conditions, doing myopic work. And by the time they hit 25, they can't sew anymore, and they really don't have very many industry options. Those folks are finding some relief by NGOs and other folks helping them find work. In other parts of the world, it's not going in the same direction. Because the Rohingya were fled to Bangladesh, there was 500,000 new workers that landed in Bangladesh that received even worse treatment than the sewers that were already there. And we're seeing the same thing happen in the environment in Turkey. So the Syrians that have fled to Turkey have filled up the apparel industry there, and their rates have dropped through the floor. So they're treating their workers actually worse than they were in 2015. There's other countries that are doing better. The EU has implemented a lot more strict rules, and the industries themselves have adopted the rules without government asking them to do so. So some of the laundry makers and washing machine makers are instituting extra small nanofilters, and they're doing this on their own initiatives in order to remove microparticle plastics from the water stream. That wasn't requested by any government. That is people taking the initiative, and industry is making changes. So it's changing in the positive in some places, and where there isn't any light being shown, darkness will continue to grow.
Cool, thank you. Sabrina?
Here's a facetious remark for me. For that question part, have you seen a change in the apparel industry since then? Yeah, we've seen a lot of very serious greenwashing going on since then. I mean, seriously made efforts to pretend sustainability is really happening and is starting to be becoming part of the DNA of certain fast fashion companies. I'm not going to name names, but there are some very prominent ones. And one of their one after the other of their advertising campaigns is devoted to show how they are incorporating recycled content and how they promote conscious shopping and conscious fashion. And by now, probably everybody knows who I'm talking about. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of effort being made, right? But is it serious? No, it's not yet. It's not yet. But that's where the consumer has to come in again. Yeah. If you're happy to buy the fast fashion product for the $5 t-shirt or $1 t-shirt because you now think that this company has had a moral change and all of a sudden embrace the circular economy when they don't, well then you are perpetuating the system. And if you don't, well then more than just greenwashing will happen.
Great, thank you. Kathleen?
Yeah, I was actually going to say in some places, Bangladesh and Turkey stand out. Working conditions have actually gotten worse, not better. And one of the main agents of that's been the US backing off from some of our own policies. And the second thing is, and just to kind of say ditto to what Sabrina said, consumer pressure for sustainably produced products has pushed companies to rebrand, reposition, but not change core business practices. So the advertising is better now. The messaging's better. And so this is a real challenge because it has to go beyond ad messages. And I I don't know what we do to actually break through, to have something where it's an easy process for consumers to understand, if I buy A, it's a better choice than B, because it's not that easy to figure out. It takes an enormous amount of research. And we don't have a company like, if I want to buy a quality product, I can go to Consumer Reports theoretically and look at the ratings and evaluations. And we've replaced that with Amazon user ratings, which are easily manipulated and influencing people at a very high rate. So hopefully over time, perhaps we get a way that consumers can start to learn what the reality is versus the ad message. But mostly what's changed since 2015's ad messages.
Skaya?
So there's a major environmental company here in the United States that sells clothing that they promote the outdoor lifestyle. And on their website, they have a fabric company that they say that they purchase this amazing fabric from. Now, Fed by Threads actually buys our fabric from that particular company. And it was interesting. I was talking to the president of the company, and he said for 7 years, they have had on this particular company's website, they have had the brand listed that they are buying the fabric from. And they have said in 7 years, they have never placed one order with them, but they're using the name and their pedigree to say that they're supporting businesses. So this is corporate greenwashing at its highest, where they are walking around branding and saying, look at what we're doing. But when you look under the hood, they haven't spent $1 to do it. And so most of the products that they sell come from a greenwashed environment that they're trying to stand on somebody else's back. And once again, I'm going to reiterate what the other panelists have said. It is the responsibility of the consumer. And unfortunately, you have to be the person, just like your healthcare, you have to be your own best advocate. In your clothing, you have to be your own best advocate as well.
Great, thank you.